Jay, last week, the star of the show was the leprechaun on Jaylen Brown's live stream. And
you're not deep enough in your reporting to know who that is.
As the host of Still Potable,
he's named Caveman.
Caveman on Causeway is the Instagram that I found for this gentleman. A Boston Celtics legend creating nonstop Boston Celtics content. So, Jay, I want to know, have you ever met him? Have you ever seen him?
No, I have not met him. I've never seen him. I only know his name because of he showed up on Jaylen Brown's stream, and apparently he's some super fan. So that's cool.
That's cool.
So in your time making year-round Celtics content, you've never crossed paths with this other gentleman making year-round Celtics content?
I did not know of his existence. Fascinating dude. Fascinating life. You know, when you dedicate your whole life to being a fan of a team. And
what do you think of the phenomenon of players just embracing their biggest sycophants?
I think it's weird. I think it's weird, man.
KD allegedly being in chats with a bunch of his stans under the pseudonym "Get Off My Dickerson" or whatever it was. Jaylen Brown bringing his super stans on the Twitch streams. It's interesting.
Yeah. It's just weird. I think you're better off with a moat. You know, you got to have a moat. If you get rid of the moat, then you're going to get caught up in the peasants, and you don't want to get caught up with the peasants. You don't need that in your life. That's why, honestly, I don't know why Jaylen twitches in the first place. To me, it brings him nothing but headaches.
He loves attention. Duh. It's not like he's getting money. Like, if he was really getting paid to Twitch, like he had a crazy Twitch following, you know, like he was like Destiny or Hassan Piker or some shit, I'd be like, oh, okay.
I don't know who those people are.
They're crazy.
But you know
Twitchers.
who the Caveman is.
I know who the Caveman is.
They're crazy on Twitch. They're huge on Twitch, huge audiences. All right. But like, he's just doing it for attention. There's no money in it.
Yeah, he's getting that dopamine hit, Woz. He loves talking to the chat because the chat's got his back, you know?
Yeah, nah.
And then he can bring 4 people from the chat, give them all Oakleys. There's a lot of Oakley synergy going on, and have a good time, you know?
I can't.
All it has accomplished for him is getting people to think he wants the Celtics to trade him. That's it. And now every first take show, every whatever show, they're just trying to trade Jaylen Brown off the Celtics. And that's what his Twitch has accomplished.
Do you think there's actually validity to that, though? Like, is it not just what I think is a normal reaction to the stupid shit he said on Twitch? To be like, maybe this guy doesn't want to be in Boston for real.
So I following him all season, he said this a million times all season. And there were times
he said this was his favorite season all season.
All season long. It was his favorite season. And there were times when I think he was a little tone deaf and didn't realize that people would jump to the idea that it was his favorite season because Jason Tatum was not there. And he was so adamant about it. So he never said it. He never even like acted like it. To me, I think he actually believes, like, he loved getting counted out and then proving people wrong. He loved watching young guys flourish under his leadership.
It's a lot of me here. There's a lot of Jaylen related. Yeah.
I do think he loved having the freedom and the the role to prove what he'd always felt all along, which is that he was worthy of being a number one guy. And so I think there were a lot of factors beyond just the number one option thing that went into it. But it's so funny to me, like, obviously people jump to the Tatum thing. It's so funny to me that Jaylen was like, man, this season was so amazing. I loved it here in Boston this season. Everyone was like, he wants out. Nobody has ever like convinced the world they wanted out by saying how much they loved it before. He's the first one to ever do that, to my knowledge. And
but
so
it didn't feel like that's what he was saying he loved. It's not Boston particularly. He loved the circumstances of the season. Because he's been in Boston for 10 years. The fuck? Like, I mean, the only thing that changed is Tatum, not the city of Boston itself or the organization or Brad Stevens or like the whole context is the same except for Tatum.
No, so I think part of it too, the other part of the context is that, you know, dating back to basically the beginning of his career, they've had huge expectations. And there's a weight that comes with that. And you have to live up to that weight. There's a burden that comes with that. And I feel like this was the first time in a long time he didn't have that burden. Sure. Where nobody was demanding everything of the Celtics. He didn't come into this season with people championship or bust. It was like he was able to just do his thing with freedom, and the team did its thing and overachieved. And at the end of the day, I think he liked having like a year where he didn't have to deal with that intense scrutiny. And instead, everyone was just so excited that the Celtics were doing well that the talk about them was totally different. And it, like, this was 56 wins is the least they've had in years. And still the conversation, the tone of it was totally different. And I think he enjoyed that part of it too. It was kind of a free flowing season. Yeah.
I appreciate the context, but like, and again, I don't even think he is alien in his view that individual success is more fulfilling than team success. I don't even think he's the only NBA player who feels that way. I'm just following what this guy says all the fucking time. And again, if I'm to believe our media brethren, he's the smartest NBA player that's ever existed. Somehow nobody gets what he's trying to communicate, Jay, but he's also the smartest person in the history of the NBA because he went to fucking Berkeley for 4 months. Let's leave that. Let's put that to the side. I remember when Jason Tatum was coming back. And he gave this press, it was like in the scrum, and he was like, well, you know, now guys realize the kind of sacrifices I made. And I made a bunch of sacrifices. And, you know, when guys come back, it's sacrifice time. And motherfuckers need to sacrifice. And I was just like, bro, like, this is not the message you should be sending in the moment when your co-star, the guy who's led this team forever, to be like, well, Jason needs to come back and sacrifice. You know what would have made some sense, J. King? Yo, you know I'm actually way better than I was 3 years ago, 4 years ago when we lost to Golden State in the finals. I'm actually at a point in my career that I could do this. I wasn't able to do that shit a few years ago. My handle is actually better. You can go look up my mid-range jumpers. I am hitting them at a way higher clip. I'm better. Like, how about that? Like, it's not that, I've actually worked really fucking hard to get here. Working hard pays off. Like, this dude is he's fucking clueless, bro. So I'm sorry. He's a blonde bimbo.
So his response would probably be that he has said all of that stuff. And you're taking one quote that he said and reading into it that he'd never said that. And he has talked.
And then when he goes on Twitch with Oakley glasses on, it's unrelated, right?
No, I'm just saying.
Surrounded by sycophants. It's all unrelated, of course.
It's not unrelated. I'm just saying he has said a lot of that stuff. And he's talked about that before too. And I think he was wrong to go about it the way that he did. I think the way that he messaged all season long made it seem like he didn't want Jason Tatum. Whether he did or not, I think he does. I think, he has comments too in support of Jason Tatum. And when Tatum came back, he said something like, "It was so great to see my brother out there smiling," whatever. But of course, like, I think he screwed up with the messaging the whole season long. And this was not something that just happened after the season. Like, this was going on the whole way through, and the vibes were good enough around the Celtics and around him that nobody made it into a big thing at the time. But when you say that after a first round exit and you're still shouting to everyone, "This is my favorite season," of course, you're going to be like, "What are you talking about? You guys just lost a 3-1 series lead to the losing ass 76ers. The losing ass
swept the next round. I mean, like, it's whatever. We can move on.
This is my favorite episode of Do You Believe? You guys can do the math on
you guys ambushed me with that. You gave me a plan of the show, and that was nowhere to be found.
Do you believe?
Do you believe?
Do you believe? Maybe you do, maybe you don't. Do you believe? I don't know if I do. Do you believe? Maybe you do, or maybe you don't. Do you believe? I don't know if I do anymore. Do you believe? Let me know when you have time.
Welcome to Do You Believe? I am your host, Hack Zarper, aka Anthony Mays. We've got Jay King from The Athletic and Still Potable in the house to defend his white American squad, who's only got Chet Holmgren and Duncan Robinson still alive in the playoffs. We've
Playing
got,
well
of course,
in the playoffs than both.
Wosny Lambre, No Fouls Given host with Paul Pierce and Danny Green. And yeah, we got a nice, juicy Jaylen Brown Redux intro. So we're going to get right into our first question, which is, do you believe in James Harden? Wednesday night in Game 5, the Cleveland Cavaliers won their first road game of the playoffs, erasing a 9-point deficit with 3 minutes to play to defeat Detroit 117-113 in overtime. Cade Cunningham's 39 points were not enough, as Tobias Harris has cooled off the last 2 games. And Jalen Duren continues to be such a disappointment that he was benched in the fourth quarter and overtime for B-Ball Paul. Meanwhile, Evan Mobley hit a clutch 3 and 2 big free throws to tie the game. And Big Jim Harden scored a playoff high 30 points, and the Cavs took control of the series. Harden has now scored 30 points for 6 different teams in the playoffs. No one else has more than 4 because no one else has played for that many teams and been that good. As we head back to Cleveland for Game 6, has the beard figured it out? Is this him now? Or is this only a precursor to the inevitable gaslighting to come? Woz.
I believe that James Harden can be much better than complete boo-boo. Yes. I believe that. And the truth, like, it's borne itself out. And the reason why I say that is he's been so boo-boo in the past. Like, I just know he's capable of better. I'm not saying James Harden gonna be better than Cade Cunningham. He's surely gonna be better than Jalen Duren. I'm not saying he's gonna be like anything close to the Houston James Harden, who basically was a walking 50-win season for like 7-8 years. I'm not saying that. But man, can he be good? Yes. I believe in James Harden's ability to be good. What's good? 19, 9 assists, make wide open shots, get to the line maybe 6 times. Yeah, I think he can do that. I really do. I believe in it.
Wow, Jay, Woz has been gaslit by James Harden. What do you have to say now?
I'm the biggest James Harden playoff believer who ever lived.
Whoa!
I actually think his playoff career is the most underrated thing of any player ever. Ever. If he didn't run into the Warriors, like peak Warriors, he'd have a title, maybe two. And this would be the entire conversation about his career would be different. Now, is he liable to go 2 for 13 in a game 7? Absolutely. Does he have a number of stinkers? Absolutely. Did I once ask a Celtics player after he had a terrible game against the Celtics if he thought James Harden had quit in that game? I did. So the player said no, by the way. The player said no. Playoff basketball is very difficult. I believe in Harden. I think, especially now with Donovan Mitchell to take a lot of the pressure off of him, I'm with it. I think it's time for Big Game James to live up to his nickname.
So here's the thing about Harden that I think is a little underrated. He's a very in the flow player. What do I mean by that? He's just doing what he perceives as the natural progression of the game to be happening. In Houston, that meant, like dribbling the air out the ball, but that was the offense, and rightfully so, right? I think Harden is not a hijacker in a way that the best players kind of need to be in the playoffs. And I think the last few games, he's been better at being I should be working towards something that maybe doesn't instinctively feel like the regular flow of our offense in terms of being more aggressive, finding my own shot. He's still incredible to me in pick and roll. If a defense is going to play conventional pick and roll coverage, he's going to fuck that shit up. If you're not able to just credibly switch Harden pick and rolls, he can still hurt you. To me, the answer is just switch everything and dare this guy to bust your ass one-on-one off the dribble. But I think sometimes he just doesn't understand. Harden, I get it. You're 38 or whatever the fuck you are now. You still got to take over in moments. And I feel like that's what's been missing. It's when the guy's taking 11 and 13, 12 shots, it's bro, that can't happen. You're fucking James Harden. And I think he's getting a better sense of no. I need to break the what is perceived as the normal order of the game. If you guys get what I'm saying right there.
By the way, he basically averaged 29, 8, and 6. He averaged 29, 8, and 6 in the playoffs for an 8-year span. And still everyone only brings up the chokes.
Yeah, because the chokes
matter.
Ring loud, man. The chokes
matter. And they were in pretty big moments.
In a 2-2 series, you take 11 shots and your team loses and you're fucking a max player. That fucking matters, man. You know what I'm saying? At this point, I don't expect Harden to go out and drop 30 or whatever. I just expect him to be good. Be a good player. You're a good player. That's it.
And how much of this is that the Pistons seem like they're running out of gas here?
I don't think it's gas. I don't know about you, Jay. I don't think the Pistons are that good.
I just think they're super limited.
Exactly. Exactly. And even on defense, Asar Thompson is amazing. I think Cade can play really good defense, but you can't ask him to generate every single one of your freaking shots on every possession, generate his shots and his teammates, and then go out and strap up James Harden or fucking Donovan. That's insane. So you can't really put Cade on Harden or Mitchell for the whole game. So that means it's going to be a guy that's either smaller or at a quickness disadvantage to both on one of those guys, meaning whoever Asar's not guarding.
Yeah. I mean, that was an inexplicable loss in Game 5.
Yeah, they choked.
Totally inexplicable. They were totally dominating the fourth quarter. There was a stretch where Harden threw some awful pass off his heels out of bounds, and then Mobley caught it in the seams and had somebody wide open through that out of bounds.
They just didn't know. They didn't know how to deal with it. They never saw a trap.
The Cavs were cratering. B-Ball Paul came in and had that amazing block at the rim. I was like, that's the most important block for the Pistons since Tayshaun Prince against Reggie Miller. Mm-hmm. And then somehow they lost that game. I have no idea how it happened. Evan Mobley hit a 3. That was a huge shot. And Duren just needs to be better for them. The thing to me is he has 3 offensive rebounds total in the last 3 games. You have to be a bully. And I think part of it for him is he's having a crisis of confidence, and it's really hard to be a physical bully when you're having a crisis of confidence. He's got to just go out there and just be a fast brother. Just throw your weight around, grab some offensive rebounds.
He didn't touch the ball for like 6 minutes straight to start the game. Like, I'm not talking about like he didn't shoot or they didn't run a post-up. He didn't touch the ball.
And his playmaking can be a factor for them too. But to me, like, if you're not going to be offensive rebounding, what are you doing out there against a front court that's not super physical?
All right, so you guys believe in Big Jim. He's gonna take care of Detroit. How's he gonna do in New York?
Big game, James. I text Brian Windhorst every time James Harden has a big playoff moment because I call him big game James.
So take big game James to New York. How's that going to go?
I mean, the Knicks
not well.
Knicks have more perimeter. They got more stuff to throw at him on the perimeter. I think Cat has obviously been up and down on defense, and the downs have just been the fouls. When he's not fouling, which I know laugh at home. When Cat's not fouling, he's been good at defense in the playoffs this year. Insane to say, but that's legitimately been the truth. I think the Knicks are gonna be fine against them. And Harden's, I don't think he's gonna suck necessarily, but I think just the Knicks got enough horses to slow down what Cleveland's trying to do.
The Knicks also play with so much energy, and their guys are like, they just play with an energy to them that I think you can catch Harden sleeping on the fast break in transition. You can beat him on the glass. I think that's a tough matchup for Cleveland.
Do you believe the Wolves can topple the Spurs? No. The most entertaining series of the second round enters a pivotal game 6 on Friday night. 2 hard-fought Wolves victories have been countered by 2 dominant Spurs blowouts. In game 4, Wemby's frustration led to him elbowing Naz Reid and receiving a flagrant 2, which he did not know what that meant exactly, but Wemby was not fined or suspended and returned in game 5 to score 18 points in the first quarter. The Spurs doubled Anthony Edwards on 20 possessions, which led to 5 turnovers, and the Wolves only scoring 13 points on 6 of 15 shooting. Also, San Antonio attacked relentlessly, outscoring them in the paint 68-36. But Minnesota's been in this position before, returning home in a game 6 down 3-2. 2 years ago, they rallied against Denver to win the second round series in 7 games, including being down 20 in that game 7. Anthony Edwards said after game 5, "I don't see nobody in our locker room that's too worried. There's another basketball game. Come out, put your boots on, and get ready to go to war." So, can the scrappy Wolves claw their way to a game 7, or does Wemby land the finishing blow tomorrow, Jay King?
Wembanyama is gonna beat them in game 6 or game 7. I don't know, but there's no chance the Minnesota Timberwolves win this series. Just no chance. They don't have, like, I've been wildly impressed by the Spurs. I thought their lack of experience would be a big problem in the playoffs. They're so fast, so physical. Like, Stephon Castle, the way he drives to the basket is so funny to me. He's just like putting his shoulder down, just battering ram the whole time. And Wembanyama, even, like, everybody's game plan against Wembanyama, the only game plan you could possibly have is to bother him with physicality, to try to bully him, to try to get him off his game. And yeah, did he totally cross the line when he said a vicious elbow? Yes. But other than that, he's lived up to the physicality, and he's fought it. Like, the Timberwolves, they're holding him even when he's off ball on defense. They're like just lowering their shoulder into him off ball on defense. So he has to deal with a lot. And there was that one play when he's getting his arm held by Rudy Gobert, still blocks Anthony Edwards. It's just, I'm super impressed by Wembanyama's ability at this stage of his career to deal with all that and fight through it and still be super effective. I thought for a while his lack of muscularity would hold him back, but that's not the case. And so if they don't get it done in Game 6, it'll be Game 7. I don't think these two teams are close. Minnesota just doesn't have enough in this matchup.
Yeah, it's hard to envision after Game 5 where it's just obvious the Bulls just they can't get anything at the rim when Wemby is on the court, like nothing. And again, it's such a stark contrast to the Denver series where everything was in the paint for them, and now everything is just a three. And I don't know how they solve for that. And even defensively, they're just having all the issues because Rudy, he can't guard Wemby. And he's definitely their best defensive option. However, if you're going to play Rudy at center for Wemby, your offense is severely limited. So it's like, even if they go to a more Nas and Randall-centric offense that's theoretically 5 out, it seems like they're just going to get destroyed defensively because Wemby's doing a good job rolling hard to the rim on his pick and roll. To me, that play has just been unstoppable. Whenever Wemby actually rolls on a pick and roll, and it's just like, yeah, bro, just throw it at me. Like, it's over. Another thing that's just hilarious, like, I've never seen a player that is literally impossible to front. Like, you literally can't front the post on him.
Yeah.
Like, they're just going to throw it exaggeratedly over, and he's going to come up with it every time. It's like... It's tough, man. I think they're cooked.
Yeah, they made that run after halftime in Game 5 where they tied it up, and then the Spurs countered with their own like 12-2 run or something like that. And Wemby wasn't even scoring; it was all Castle and Harper and Keldon Johnson. And yeah, I mean, Fox has been expendable on this team. Like, they don't even really need him to do a whole lot, and he was supposed to be like
in this series they don't
the playoff experience, like steady hand. And so yeah, it's been very impressive by the Spurs. I hope we get 7 selfishly just because I want a little bit more, but with Ant banged up and the doubling thing, like if Rudy's on the court and his first outlet is Rudy, that's basically not an option.
Rudy's had some of the worst offensive moments. That lefty layup, it missed the rim after hitting the backboard by like 5 feet.
He's just
not caught the ball. Yeah,
he's dropped so many passes. Jay. I'm like, Lord have mercy.
So they have 2 problems on offense. Minnesota, well, not just 2, but 2 big ones to me. Ant isn't himself. He's not able to totally break down a defense like he normally does. And then when they double Ant, something goes wrong. Sometimes he takes a second too long to dissect it and gets out too late. Sometimes the guy doesn't cut right. Sometimes they do everything perfect and Rudy just flubs a catch. And it's like, you have to be able to punish double teams, and they haven't done enough to do it.
So you could contrast that with OKC, who's getting, granted, Shea is being hard doubled by the Lakers. It's like Ayton, Jackson Hayes, and, Marcus Smart, who's old as shit, and, Austin Reeves, who's nobody's idea of a great defensive player. And I get it. The context is different, but just watch them dissect that same exact action. And it's just ending in an alley-oop to Chet or a wide open corner 3 to some other guy. And Minnesota just looks completely lost when they're approached with the same exact defense. I get it. The personnel that you're doing it against is way better in terms of talent defensively, but like there's got to be some middle ground between what Minnesota is able to accomplish and what OKC does against the Lakers.
Do you believe firing Daryl Morey makes the 76ers better? Dork Elvis has finally left the building in Philadelphia after a humbling sweep by the Knicks. To make matters worse, Knicks fans staged a full hostile takeover of Xfinity Mobile Arena in games 3 and 4. Morey's tenure had Philly topping out as a 50-win team that lost in the second round and is marked by some serious pros and cons. Pros: Drafted Tyrese Maxey, 21st overall. Paired him with VJ Edgecombe, number 3 overall pick. Great. Con, gave up on Jared McCain in year 2 in order to duck the tax and then called it selling high. Pro, turned a useless Ben Simmons into big Jim Harden, big game Jim. Con, lied to big game Jim and soured their relationship. Daryl Morey is a liar, tanking big game Jim's value. Pro, signed Paul George in free agency. That's good. Con, owes $231 million to Paul George and Joel Embiid over the next 2 years. Yes, those two have played 41% of regular season games the last 2 years. Sixers managing partner Josh Harris has enlisted his consigliere Bob Myers to find Morey's replacement. And unless Bob Myers pulls a James Gunn and decides that the best man for the job is Bob Myers, can the next man up fix this team? Jay King.
So they're at a fascinating fork in the road right now because Joel Embiid, when he's right, is still fantastic. But to me, you've got to just pivot away from him. You can't rely on him. You can't rely on Paul George. You need to pivot and build around Maxey and Edgecombe. They had like 2 totally different styles this year. It was like, one, you play slow with Embiid and George likes to play slow. And then 2, you just have speed demons everywhere with Maxey, Edgecombe, Oubre, super athletic on the wing. I feel like you just need to get what you can for Embiid. I don't know what that is. And that's the tough part, though. That's the tough part. That's the tough part. Nobody's out there going to be a taker for Embiid. Nobody's out there going to be a taker for Paul George. They might just be stuck in mediocrity. And I think Morey had a tough job in some ways because he inherited a pumpkin in Ben Simmons. And he inherited ownership that, you know, like if you have to trade Jared McCain to duck under the tax, like that sucks. I'm sure Daryl Morey didn't want to do that. I'm sure he knew that realistically, like they were going to need Jared McCain, and Jared McCain, I'm sure Daryl Morey had some attachment to him after picking him late in the first round and seeing him, you know, come in and be great right away. And so I think he had a tough job in a lot of ways. Embiid was never on the court. But at the same time, he never found a way to push them to a higher level. And now they're just in a really, really tough spot where they were okay. They're probably going to be okay for the next few years, but they have to pivot, and it's going to be really hard to pivot.
I don't see how they get necessarily better, you know, because the Embiid thing is
time for the process 2.0, Waz.
Right. The Embiid
Pinky's
thing
out there, right? Can he be the next one?
You want to wave and stretch Embiid?
Wave and stretch $180 million?
You want to pay $35 million a year for nothing?
Bro. And then even Paul George is hard to see it because it's like, let's just say, you know, because next year, theoretically, he's on an expiring next season. Yeah, although we know he's picking up that player option. Let's just say, like, what's the price that even makes sense for him to be like, I'm opting out of that 50, whatever it is. Somebody gives me 3 years, 72. It's like, what, like, I opt out the 1 and go, like, I don't see it. I don't see the upshot in that. So who's the team after watching Paul? Like, you just watched it, bro. In the second round of the playoffs, like, these guys are not it. They do need a team that's oriented around Maxey and Edgecombe. My only thing is the Joel part of it. Like, we know he's not going to play more than 40 games. When he does play, are we going to treat him like a 20-minute guy? A backup guy? Like, how do you treat your $70 million player? Like, I don't know. I've never seen it in the NBA, so I don't know what they do, Jay. Like, you treat him like he's freaking B-ball Paul?
Well, here's the one good thing for Philly is that I thought Embiid was washed, like totally washed at the beginning of the season.
Mhm.
And as the season progressed, he said he felt like he figured out his knee issues.
Mhm.
And he was a totally different player than he was at the beginning of the season by the end of it. And I never thought he was coming back from that. I thought his body was cooked. I thought it was over for him. I still think there's a great player in Joel Embiid. It's just like a stylistic clash. And also Embiid age and Paul George age. Like, it's just, you're not going to be good enough, I don't think, on those guys' timeline. So my thing is not that Joel Embiid needs to be like a 7th or 8th man. I think he's still amazing. It's just, you can't rely on him. You can't depend on him. And you've got this young backcourt that wants to play a different style that you should probably try to, feature them.
If Embiid played 60 games next year, let's just say he even did that, I don't think it would serve the team to play the way they played against the Knicks while Embiid was on the floor. It doesn't serve your current talent. It doesn't serve your future. Like, playing that way. Is he even capable of playing a different way? I would say no, he's not. He has to be a straight up station to station, really methodical, really slow pace kind of player. He's not running up and down. And so, again, he's the process. You know what I mean? He's the franchise, apparently. How do you even treat him differently? I don't know. And I think that's the tough part. And to Daryl, I know a lot of people was like, it didn't work, so he got fired. And I don't deserve don't have nothing to do with it. It's completely justified. At the same time, I admired Daryl for GMing with some fucking balls. You know who's not being threatened to be fired? Danny Ainge. And they've done dick for 4 years. Nothing. Nothing's been done. They're nowhere close to being fired. And they've done nothing on that team. And that's how you GM with job security in mind. You talk about the future and your great picks, and you don't try to do anything of substance or relevance. But Daryl, at every turn, has gone for the gusto, whether that be in Houston or that be in Philadelphia. So, I'm annoyed the way people talk about Daryl in the media. It's annoying because they're all fucking friends with him. But at the same time, the people who GM like a bunch of bitches and pussies, they get sucked off in the media so much in a way that fucking kills me. And Daryl never does that. He literally tries every fucking year. He's literally going for it every year.
He's also had Hall of Fame level players at every stop. So of course he's going to go. He had Harden in his prime. What are you going to do? Harden could have taken the three of us.
I don't think. You think Danny Ainge goes all in on Embiid? No, he doesn't. Absolutely not. He goes his draft picks, wait for his picture perfect trades so he could brag to the media about it. He talks about how he fleeced other guys on deals, and he gets rid of Joel Embiid the minute he gets there because that gives him time.
I think the way that they framed it in that he's the only one of the front office and coaching staff that's taking any heat for this. And they really singled him out as well, we're taking Daryl out. Nick Nurse is staying. Everybody else in the front office is staying. It's Daryl. Daryl is the guy that is the fall guy for this situation. I think that's interesting. And I also think the Jared McCain, clearly ownership driven.
Yes.
Joel Embiid extension. What are they going to do? Not sign it? Everybody would have signed it in that situation.
I don't think that's true. I don't think everybody signs that. I think some teams, you think about when Darren Williams got shipped off preemptively from Utah, right? And he was seen as the franchise player, drafted, one of the best Jazz of all time, yada, yada, yada. And he was seen as still having stuff in the tank. That's most importantly. Mm-hmm. I don't think it would have been completely unjustifiable to move off a dude with that injury history specifically, to just be yo, we're selling to the highest bidder. We're doing something different now. I don't think everybody does that. I just think these guys, it's like a Stockholm syndrome between Philadelphia and Joel at this point. And the nastiness is like, bruh, 105 million committed to Paul George and Joel Embiid, bro, for 2 years straight. What?
Yeah, and the Philly complaint, the local Philly fan complaint was like his bench and his role player interests. Like he had Isaiah Joe went out the door, Jared McCain went out the door. They had people that
Isaiah Joe. Do people really think Isaiah Joe?
This is what the Philly fans are talking about, man.
Isaiah Joe. Isaiah Joe looks amazing because he plays with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Period. That's it.
And Chet.
And Chet, right?
And Alex Caruso.
Fair enough.
But yeah, it's not a great job to step into, and Bob Myers is not getting back in the game for this. That's for damn fair.
No. He'll be stupid too.
He'll be invested in the outcomes, but like to be day to day, like it's your job to make all these decisions and do all the studying and like consult. No,
he got out of there when it was Steph and Draymond near the end. Forget about like, Joel Embiid and Paul George. He's not coming back for that.
Yeah, I'm out.
It's consulting. It's a much better gig for anybody who knows. I'm a consultant. I get to go home at the end of the day. My name's not on the door. And that's going to do it for us this week on Do You Believe? Thanks to Big Waz. Thanks to our consultant.
You were better than Zach today. You were much better
Jay
than Zach
King. And that's why this was my favorite episode of Do You Believe of the season.
Yeah, you're stupid.
I want to host this show for another 10 years. Keep that third eye open.